Morning, boys and girls, and welcome back to Buckeye Wars. This is a series I've put together about growing up in El Dorado Hills, California, back in the 70s and the 80s. And as you can see, it's raining today, so it got my mind going. And I'm thinking, what did we used to do in the rain back when we were youngins and full of spit and spunk? I can remember vividly. You're crazy, I swear. Out near what is now St. Andrews Village, which was across the El Dorado Hills Boulevard from where we lived. It was just a few houses and a bunch of field, and then the hill that we like to hike in, like I've told you. But there was also New York Creek and other little creeks that are probably unnamed. But when it was raining or maybe a break in the storm, there was always just a torrent of water going through those creeks. It was screaming. And therefore debris would be washed through. And I remember one time there was like a log or something that was floating in the creek, and it was pretty big. And I remember we were daring one another to hop on it and like ride it down the creek. And we did, or at least I think I did. I remember riding on it. But there was a chunk of wood or a log or something like that, and hopped on it and rode it for a little while before we got scared, and before I got scared and hopped off of it. And we weren't afraid of water, and we could swim like fish, so we weren't in too much trouble. I mean, there was a decent current there for a minute, but hopped on that thing and kind of bobbing around and hanging on to it and seeing how far it would take us. Didn't go very far, but it was kind of cool. Rode it down the little creek for a little while. And I remember another thing. Out in the field further away from New York Creek, there were ditches and creek water going through those ditches. And they were narrow in some points and a little bit wider in other points. And when it rained, the water would rise in those ditches, and kind of a pain, because we wanted to hike, to the other side of the hill and get over there and just kind of screw around, because we love to hike. And so we're walking up and down these ditches trying to find a narrow spot to walk across so we didn't get our feet too damn wet. And Bill thought it would be fun, since we couldn't really find a good place to cross the water. He says, why don't we just back up a little bit, take a running start, and jump over the damn thing? And in some places, it was wider. Other places, it was narrower. And, at first, we found a narrow spot, and we jumped over, and wasn't a problem whatsoever. And we looked into each other, and we're like, that was kind of fun. So we spent the next hour or so, maybe even a little longer, walking up and down this trench, looking for places that were a little wider, and then a little wider, and then a little wider, and seeing how far we could jump to jump across these trenches, which, of course, dirt and at the bottom of it were the water, and if you missed, you'd fall back and you'd land in the water and you'd be soaking wet, which didn't matter whatsoever to us. We didn't give a damn. We didn't care what we looked like. We weren't afraid of water. It wasn't all that cold. We were just having a blast. Oh my goodness, I tell you what, we had so much fun. Anyway, those were the days back in the 70s and 80s in El Dorado Hills, California.